It is going to take effort. It is going to take sometimes time, but sometimes it doesn't have to take as long as you think. And sometimes, it can actually feel more easeful than you imagine because we can tend to complicate things. Hi, welcome to the Connect with Sheila podcast. I'm an entrepreneur, self-care strategist, and creator of the Seasons Self-Care app. I'm committed to helping you reconnect to your purpose, elevate your well-being, and build your version of a happy, successful life. You're listening to a Monday minisode where I share an insight designed to help you live into what lights you up this week. Have you ever wondered why some things go super smoothly for you and other things feel like they take so much effort and so much time? Well, I actually want to back it up a little bit and ask you a different question. What are the things that you find yourself focusing on doing? I had a really interesting epiphany recently about some things that I had been doing consistently over time, and I felt like I was just struggling so hard with, and it wasn't really yielding me the results that I wanted. And it was in the space of visibility and marketing. There's just so many things you can be doing right now. Obviously, as you know, there's so many platforms, there's so many ways to show up, and it's hard to know where you're going to get the most value for your time because you can succeed in any different way, any different platform. It is possible. People do it all the time. But why are some able to really make strides in certain areas and some aren't? Well, the epiphany I had was when I looked at how one of my platforms was going, and it seemed to be starting to grow really beautifully. And I realized that it was something that I found really easy to do. This particular part of my business, I found it just like so easy. Too easy. So I thought, okay, no, this is way too easy. I need to be doing something more strategic. I need to be doing something that, is more challenging because that must be where the result is going to come from, the good results I'm after. And what I missed was those things that actually felt really easeful to me happened to be the things that were doing really, really well. And one of them was the connections I was making with people. I love people, as you know. That's why I have this podcast. That's why I like to have guests on this show. And so there was some very, very important elements of connection that I was kind of missing because it didn't seem to me like it would be of my highest value to put my effort into because it just felt too easy. So I was looking at some other things and starting to lay the groundwork for doing some different things. And it was going to be really complex. And then I realized, what am I doing? A few conversations that I had started to yield some opportunities that I didn't even realize would be possible. And I didn't really pursue them initially because it just felt too easy. And then I saw, oh my goodness, these are the things that can actually get the results that I'm after. And the coolest thing is this. The thing that I love the most is to create, symbiotic relationships or win-wins, as some people call them. I love to elevate other people as I am elevating. And so the cool thing about these connections I was making was not only was it going to help me, it was really going to help them get visibility as well and to grow their brand. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? It's all coming back again to some old programming in my young life, and that I guess I've carried it with me into my adult life, that for things to be successful, it needs to feel hard. It needs to come with a lot of challenge, when that's not always the case. Now, obviously, running a business, going after your goals and achieving things, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, right? It is going to take effort. It is going to take sometimes time, but sometimes it doesn't have to take as long as you think. And sometimes, it can actually feel more easeful than you imagine because we can tend to complicate things. Case in point, did you know that people tend to connect with and buy from those people who don't use big words. They feel a connection because they're easy to understand. They feel more approachable. And I know sometimes I love flowery language. I love words. I love reading. I love literature. I love that kind of stuff. And so I can find myself kind of moving into that area as well. You may find even when I'm speaking on this podcast, I will throw in words here and there and I'm thinking, maybe I can keep it more simple. Right? So that's an example of maybe making it too hard when it really doesn't need to be. At the end of the day, do you and be yourself. But this was a really interesting lesson for me. I'm having a lot of interesting ahas in this season, and I'm going to have a nice little retrospective near the end of the year when I go back over some things, because in this quarter, there have been some really neat growth opportunities happening in my business, in different areas of my business. And I am monitoring it right now. And I want to do a retrospective to kind of deconstruct how things were going, and how things have ended up. I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of like, do you love before and afters? I love before and afters, right? Anyway, more on that near the end of the year. But I would really love for you to think about, where are you making things too hard in your life? And I'm talking, it could be anything. It could be in your relationship, maybe. Maybe you are struggling for the limitations in your relationship. Maybe you are nitpicking on something when really you can just lean back and it's really not that big of a deal. Maybe you don't have to be right. Maybe someone else gets to be right in the relationship. I know that could be hard. We especially when, let's face it, sometimes you're just right and the other person, really needs to learn that. But maybe it's okay that we let them be right. How about that? It can be a tough pill to swallow sometimes, but it opens things up, and then it becomes something you can laugh at later when everybody eases up. So think about where you're making it too hard, and think about how you can make it easier for you and for those around you. Because guess what? When you do, success comes your way, and more importantly, a lot more joy and ease. These are some of the things that I love to talk to my clients about, and they are conversations that I'm continually having in my community. So I'd love for you to check out the Seasons Collective in the show notes. There's going to be some really neat things happening soon where you get to get involved at a different level of involvement for where you're at in your life, in your business. If you're wanting to have that accountability, that sisterhood circle, a place where you get to grow into the things that are important to you while still really upholding your well-being, kind of giving yourself permission to take care of you first before all of the other priorities. Because guess what? When you do, everybody else wins too. You got to fill your cup first. You've probably heard that before. It is so powerful to do that. So I look forward to seeing you in that space if that feels right to you. And I would love to hear how this episode lands for you. I'd love to hear what's happening in your world. Please go to the Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. 5 stars is always welcome. I would also love to, rate and, make sure that you share it with somebody who may need to hear this as well, because let's face it, we're all moving through and trying to grow our best. So I hope you have a really beautiful week, and I hope that you start making things feel a little bit more easeful, because you're worthy of rest and you are worthy of all the good things that you desire. Big blessings.